the humble yet remarkable grape. Eat them as they are, or crush them up and through the magic of fermentation create wine. And before I moved to the Annapolis Valley, that was pretty much the extent of my wine knowledge. I knew that you got reds, whites, and rosés, and that's pretty much it. And I think that boils down to how my relationship with wine developed over time, which went something a little bit like this.
Well, Mum and Dad, I'd like to try some of your special adult drink, please.
Here, do you want to drink some wine? I stole it from my parents. There you go. Oh, thanks. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm gonna like it. I remember thinking it was a bit gross as a kid, if I'm honest. I mean, you can choose to not be cool if you want, mate. Yeah, I see what you're saying, and yeah, I do want to be cool. I remember thinking it was kind of gross. Did I mention it's got alcohol in it? Oh, wine. Yes, I drink it all the time, yes. I'm a very sophisticated university student, don't you know? Yes. Yes. Oh, well, yes, let's test the vintage of this one, shall we? Yeah. Yes, that is very much a white wine. It's free, right? Education. So when somebody asks you if you want to take a tour of the wineries in the Annapolis Valley in a vintage, old-school double-decker bus, there's only one answer to that question. Oh boy, do I! And so this is where my journey began with the Magic Winery Bus Tour. This is a fantastic company offering tours and different packages to go see all of the different wineries in the area and to not only get a tasting but to also learn a little bit about how wine is made in this area, what challenges all of the wineries face, and how making wine in this part of the world is something special and that we should all be a little bit more aware of. And there is a thriving wine industry here in the Annapolis Valley, with over a dozen wineries in the areas surrounding Kentville, Wolfville, New Minas, Canning, and Port Williams, with more wineries seeming to pop up every year. The fertile soil and the protection that the valley provides makes great conditions for growing certain kinds of grapes and making unique wines to this area. Now, we ended up taking the Hop On Hop Off tour, which only runs on Wednesdays and goes to the 4 wineries that you can see here, but there are different tours and different packages that you can do on different days of the week, so every time you go back you could get a completely different experience. So with that, all that was left to do was to hop on the bus and speed away to our first destination at Benjamin Bridge. And as the bus climbs out of Wolfville and down into the Gaspereau Valley, it provides a much-needed tree delimbing service.
In the method, we're going to Tidal Bay is essentially...
while also providing great views of all the vineyards, barns, and all of the other goodness that the Gaspereau Valley has to offer. So luckily at this stage you're not too drunk to get down the stairs of the bus, which is more of a factor as the day goes by. And at Benjamin Bridge you're led through to this amazing circus tent style marquee area, which keeps the weather off of you but also still allows you to enjoy the amazing views of the Gaspereau Valley and the vineyards as you do your first tasting. The folks at Benjamin Bridge were really generous with their pours, and they even allowed us to try their most popular wine, the Nova 7, which wasn't actually part of the tasting set, so a big thank you to them. So next up on our tour, we came all the way back across the valley and ended up at Lightfoot and Wolfville. This is a absolutely beautiful spot that overlooks Blomidon, and they have an amazing showroom where you can see all of their different wines and their merchandise, as well as having a space for food and a restaurant, and even multiple decks and an outdoor fireplace, all overlooking that fantastic view. So it's definitely worth going for that alone. And unfortunately on the day we were there we had a grey overcast day, so we couldn't really see Blomidon so well, but it's still fantastic to overlook the vineyards and see everything that's going on and everything that's going into the wine that you're drinking. And our tasting was actually down in the cellar, which was a unique experience because they have a really cool setup there where they've got this big long table and you're in amongst the wine barrels. And once again, they were extremely generous with their pours, and they gave us loads of information about the unique challenges that they face growing grapes here in the Annapolis Valley, and how that has contributed to the unique profile of the wines that they're able to produce here. Next up was just a short hop over to Grand Pre for us to go visit Domaine de Grand Pre. Now, this is a gorgeous spot that overlooks the Minas Basin and Blomidon, but also keeps its unique sense of style from its Swiss owners. And you're greeted with this gorgeous courtyard as you enter the winery. This was another fantastic stop on this tour, and our hosts were extremely friendly, and we got to try a number of wines, but also we got to try something a bit unique, which is the Pomme d'Or apple liqueur, which was definitely nice to change things up from the various wines we've been drinking so far that day. And once again, they have a beautiful showroom that has all of their various wines and merchandise on sale, and you can even purchase tastings of different wines and products that you hadn't had as part of your tasting tours, and so it was great to be able to sample the rest of their range. All this, and I haven't even mentioned their extremely popular restaurant, Le Caveau, but I highly recommend making a reservation for this restaurant because places book up fast. The last stop on our tour took us on a wild ride through the countryside back to the Gaspereau vineyard. And on our way back we were treated to spectacular views of the Gaspereau Valley as they sped by the window, as well as local music that was inspired by the beauty of the local area, which I won't play more than a few seconds of for copyright reasons. And the Gaspereau Vineyard is such an iconic part of this landscape, with the red buildings standing in stark contrast to the vines that wind their way up into the misty hills. And this view is spectacular even when the rain tries to get in on the action. And then there was nothing else for it but to enjoy our final tasting, which included 3 more wines for us to try, as well as we got a chance to learn about the history of the Gaspereau Winery. This is another beautiful space to sit and enjoy your wine, and they had snacks available as well as other tastings that you could purchase, including what is probably the most Canadian thing since poutine, beaver tails, and the maple leaf, which was a drink made from fermented maple syrup served in a chocolate cup. It was delicious and dangerous all at the same time. And with that, it was time for us to warily make our way back up the stairs of the bus and take our final trip back to Wolfville in varying states of inebriation. And we had had a fantastic day out. We'd made some friends, drank a lot of wine, we swapped stories about which wines were our favourite and which wineries we preferred, and got in some last-minute banter with our tour guides who were fantastic for the whole day. And once we got back to Wolfville, all that was left to do was to wave goodbye to the bus. Thank you, noble steed. So if you're in the Annapolis Valley, I couldn't recommend taking a tour of the wineries enough. If a certified wine idiot like myself can enjoy themselves and also learn something in the process, so can you. And so you don't necessarily have to take a wine tour like I did, but I would say if you're going to drive yourself to each of these wineries, definitely have a designated driver and remember to drink responsibly. Once again, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.